right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Temperatures today into the mid-70s. We warmed up nicely, but not a record just yet. When we're set to break records and when a change is arriving that'll feel more like this time of the year.
Gunfire in the Grove. A man shot, a woman dragged by a car. The quick action by bar staff that may have saved a life. Our top story, artificial intelligence giving parents a real scare.
I had no doubt that it wasn't my daughter because it sounded just like her.
Tonight, one mother's warning about what she thought was a life or death call. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Police say a number of people in St. Louis County have fallen victim to a frightening new AI phone scam, where the caller sounds exactly like their child in distress. 5 on Your Side's Andy Krall spoke with one mom who received that traumatizing call and almost fell victim. Annie.
Well, these recent AI-generated phone scams pretend there has been a car crash and someone's son or daughter has hit a person's bumper, demanding money for the damage, or they will kidnap their child. One of our victimized St. Louis County viewers remained anonymous on camera, still worried what scammers will do if they already have her phone number and daughter's voice. A call on the night of February 19th, terrifying a St. Louis County family. What sounded like the oldest daughter crying after accidentally hitting a man's car turned into him demanding a $2,000 wire transfer at the Walmart in Manchester to an address in Mexico. Otherwise, their child would be kidnapped.
So I had a lot of anxiety, but was able to think properly.
The mother messaging her other daughter for help while still on the phone with the man to, quote, call 911 and track my cell phone.
Later, I typed kidnap. I didn't have time to think or to put my daughter's name or anything. Toward the end, they put my daughter back on the phone, and it basically said, Mom, do what they say.
Her daughter's voice sounding so real. She never thought it was a scam. Police and computer engineers seeing more AI-generated calls like this, saying it's not as simple as just hanging up the phone.
That's really easy to say, but like that's an emotional moment, right? You hear from your child and you're upset. So you should talk with your family and you should have safe words or phrases or questions that you plan to ask if you wind up in this situation.
Thankfully, 2 Manchester police cars arrived at the Walmart before this mother could make the transfer.
They immediately grabbed my phone and said, who is this? And the guy said, who the F is this? And he said, this is Officer so-and-so, and this is a scam. And then the individual on the phone said, F you, and hung up. And I'm like, oh my God, they have my daughter.
Experts say these scams come from AI programs learning and processing information from online videos, meaning anyone who posts to social media can fall victim.
You can use about 0 to 3 seconds of someone's voice and synthesize any sentence you want that voice to say.
That's why law enforcement is asking everyone to spread the word so other families aren't impacted. That woman was lucky, but we do know of local cases where parents did pay up and are now out thousands of dollars. AI phone scam warning signs include asking for gift cards or cryptocurrency and pressuring you to act quickly. If you think you're being scammed, officials urge you to directly contact the threatened family member, report the call to police, and file a claim with the Missouri Attorney General's office. Mike.
Annie, thanks. We're taking a look downtown where it feels like we're hitting spring early this year, and folks around the city took advantage of that today. Let's take a look at some of the hustle and bustle around Forest Park this afternoon. The zoo was packed and walkers and runners hit the trails. You could just lie down and have a nice break. And while today didn't break any records, it still had one of the top 5 warmest temperatures on this date here in St. Louis. And it looks like we're going to get even warmer. Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank joins us now, and he's tracking more spring-like weather chances and the chance of some spring-like storms.
Yeah, it usually breaks in some fashion, right? But it's usually March or April or even May that we feel like this, and then it breaks. Maybe not to this degree, but still, it's still nice at this hour after 10 o'clock. Our average high is 49. We got the 74 today. That was the third warmest we've ever seen on this 25th of February. And right now, it's still very mild for this time of the year. In fact, it's so warm, it's warmer than our average high on this date, 55. We're still at 10 o'clock, warmer than the average high. There's really no cold air to speak of just yet. Warmer air to the south, Memphis 67. That's where our breeze is coming from. And tonight we'll stay in the mid-40s. Overall, it's warmer. We're going to stay above average in the next few days, near records. In fact, I think the next couple of days we break them. Severe risk on Tuesday, but then we're briefly back to the cold. And that's going to be our focus here as we see that switch from how close we are to a record. First time we see 80 all season long, and who's most likely to get in on that severe weather? We'll time that out for you in just about 5 minutes.
New tonight, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has sent cease and desist letters to 3 school districts claiming discrimination. Bailey's office says it's received reports that the Webster Grove School District has instituted race-based criteria for hiring. Tonight, a district spokesman fired back, calling the letter, quote, ridiculous, and that the district does not discriminate in its hiring practices. It goes on to say, quote, however, the district is interested in having a diverse faculty to serve our educators to our diverse student population and is willing to take the effort to attract, support, and retain that staff. Bailey also sent letters to the Lindbergh and Parkway school districts over different discrimination claims. We've reached out to both districts tonight and are awaiting their responses. 2 people are in the hospital tonight after a shooting led to a woman being dragged by a car down Manchester Avenue. It happened early this morning, not long after the bars closed in the Grove. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski has details on how others came to the victim's rescue.
St. Louis police say they were called out to the Grove for reports of a shooting early Sunday morning when investigators learned a man was sitting in his car near an apartment building in the 4500 block of Swan Avenue when a group of people mistakenly tried to get in the car thinking it was their own. They say that's when the driver fired shots at them before taking off, injuring a 25-year-old man. Alderman Michael Browning says it's upsetting to see a tragedy like this happen in his ward.
It's obviously a very sad thing that happened, and I'm wishing full recovery to all involved.
St. Louis police say early Sunday morning they found a 22-year-old woman laying in the street here at Manchester and Taylor Avenues where they learned she had been dragged by a car, leaving the scene a couple blocks over. Browning says police and paramedics responded quickly, but even before they got there, the staff at Platypus Bar ran out to help.
My understanding is that employees of Platypus, which is right on the corner there at Taylor and Manchester, heard what happened and rushed to the aid of the woman who was dragged with towels and were able to be there with her until paramedics were able to arrive.
Alyssa Utrecht works in the Grove, and we caught up with her as she walked by the glass-covered ground near where this happened.
I've never really felt unsafe leaving my car here. I kind of leave it on the strip here. But after knowing what happened, I would be a little bit more cautious leaving my car here in the future, for sure.
Browning says he continues to work with police and the Community Improvement District to improve lighting and have secondary patrols.
We have an extensive camera network. There are a number of safety measures in place, but I want to be clear, none of those safety measures would have prevented what happened.
Reporting in the Grove, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Tonight, both victims are still in the hospital in critical condition. Police still looking for the driver who opened fire. And if you have any information about what happened, you're asked to call St. Louis Police or the anonymous tip line at 866-371-TIPS. A man is dead after being hit by a car in St. Louis's Hamilton Heights neighborhood. This happened around 3:30 this morning at the intersection of Page and Hodemont. Police say a driver hit a man sitting in the street. The driver stayed at the scene. It's still not known why the man was sitting in the street. Tonight, another downtown office tower is showing signs of financial troubles. According to our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal, Bank of America Plaza was recently put under a receivership. The building's owner failed to make a loan payment last summer. Bank of America is currently only leasing 170,000 square feet of office space in the 750,000 square foot complex.
Breaking barriers.
Just about 2.5% of the physician workforce in this country are African American.
She's a trailblazer in her field. How a local surgeon is inspiring diversity and helping redefine the face of medicine. A heads up for Blues fans, the defensive zone MoDOT is putting up near Enterprise Center.
Well, we go from temperatures feeling like spring to springtime weather with a severe risk. What this means for us on Tuesday, and we'll time out that possibility for our area coming up.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
Now to a local doctor who's rewriting the script on diversity and excellence. As you'll learn in tonight's Making a Difference report, she's on a remarkable journey from Nigeria to the forefront of St. Louis healthcare.
You've already had the breast MRI. We're going to get the genetic testing.
There are many doctors in the St. Louis area renowned for their dedication, and a few stand out as an inspiration.
We're going to get some blood tests, chest x-ray, EKG.
SSM breast cancer surgeon Dr. Jovita Oruwari
Deep breath in and out.
not only cares for patients,
Sounds great.
she cares about breaking down stereotypes and redefining the face of medicine.
Just about 2.5% of the physician workforce in this country are African American women. Less than 5% are African American in general.
Born in Nigeria, the oldest of 7, Dr. Oruwari arrived in the U.S. at age 11, propelled by parents who set high expectations.
There was no excuse not to do well in school. You can't say I didn't do well because I was black. I didn't do well because I was a girl. You had to do well.
But as a woman of color breaking into medicine, the path wasn't always smooth.
A lot of times it was difficult to see that light at the end because there were not a lot of people that looked like me that had, made it to the end. It opened my eye to...
Now, though, she's not only an associate fellow of the American College of Surgeons,
so there's lots of support out there.
She's an expert on the disparities of healthcare in both St. Louis and around the country.
You have to be able to talk to the patients.
And she's helping to shape the next generation of doctors.
So I always recommend those courses can be helpful.
Amidst her busy schedule, Dr. Oruwari finds purpose in mentoring.
Definitely make time to study and
especially women of color.
I guess like the standard image of a physician isn't someone that looks like us. So just seeing someone who looks like me sort of, I guess, like motivates me.
When are you thinking about taking the MCATs?
Cameron Sample and Mahalet Fentaw are among the pre-med students shadowing Dr. Oruwari this year.
So knowing that there's another black woman out there that is willing to help you and is rooting for you and is encouraging you to pursue a career that people may say that you're not capable of achieving or doing, it's really empowering.
I try to do somewhat of fitness.
And as she aims to inspire the next generation of trailblazers, Dr. Oruwari is now also an author. For her book, Black Girls in White Coats, she contacted 59 other physicians who agreed to tell their story.
Looking at their stories or reading through their stories, you can tell that these are real people, real black girls that ended up in white coats.
Reshaping the narrative of what it means to be a healer.
Sometimes it's just really about someone encouraging you and saying, yes, you can do it.
Dr. Jovita Oruwari.
Being a doctor should not be all you are about.
Illuminating an avenue for future generations.
But make sure you have a lot of help and a lot of support.
And inspiring a new era of diversity in medicine.
Just knowing that I can make a little bit of a difference, that just brings me so much joy.
The book, Black Girls in White Coats, is available on Amazon. And a reminder, if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com. It's the last week of American Heart Month, and from now until the end of February, the American Heart Association is doubling donations. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in women. Nearly 45% of women over the age of 20 have some form of it, and that includes Corvon White, who underwent an emergency double bypass nearly 2 years ago. She got the diagnosis after going to urgent care for a different problem.
I had a shoulder pain. That was it. It was my shoulder. I walked around for 2 weeks. I had a massage. I had hot pack, cold pack, and they did do an EKG, and that's when they discovered that I was having a heart attack. So you can imagine the shock for me.
After a long recovery, White now wants her story to be a wake-up call for others. She encourages people to check up on their family history and listen to their bodies. Well, just hours ago, Hidden Valley Ski Resort closed up for the season. Here's a look, pretty empty. That wasn't the case earlier today. The slopes marked the end of the season with a spring fling, which had music, giveaways, specials, and more. Skiers were encouraged to wear some tropical flair while playing in the snow, but the warm-up had some downsides. The resort did have to shut down their pond skim this year. And we're back with Gary Frank for another look at our Weather First forecast. You certainly don't think of skiing, Gary, with this type of weather.
No, and I'm sure it was all an icy glaze on top, but you know, anytime temps are in the mid-70s, we had some great snow for a couple of days weather-wise, but obviously, as we look at Kirkwood Farmers Market, preparing for things that are blooming now. Obviously, we know that we're not done with being frozen, and there'll probably be some more snow between now and the end of everything, but it's not anytime soon. In fact, the next few days, you're seeing more things starting to bloom, and the allergies are up. I feel it right now. Temps right now, 55 degrees and east-southeast breeze at 3 miles an hour. We got to 74 today. Our average is 49. We're well above that. And through the first 25 days, 46.4 our average temperature. So we're still the second warmest February with just days to go. But I did want to point out the difference between last year at this time. We were number 10 at 42.2, so we're 4 degrees warmer this year than we were last year. And I thought last year was a really warm February at 6 or 7. Off the top of my head, we're going to get an extra day this year as well. Warmer conditions, though, 46. You know, for the most part, we're going to start to pick up those winds out of the south. You see that southerly direction. It's still in the 70s, and you're talking about 10, 20 at night in February. It's still in the 70s. This is part of the warmer air mass that's settling in for us. But one thing is it's dry. I do expect our wind to pick up tomorrow. It's out of the south, and you'll really start to see that even more increase out of the south, southwest on Tuesday as well. But for tomorrow, temps in the mid to upper 70s. Those winds will be on the higher side, and as we continue to reach the upper 70s tomorrow, that would be a record. Our record high at 78. And then on Tuesday, we're even warmer. We're back into the 80s. And I wouldn't even be surprised to see a few spots in the mid 80s before things change. As we reach record highs 2 days in a row, things will break. And our severe weather potential, which we highlighted 1 week ago, we talked about that possibility. Now, we are under a slight risk for severe weather. That's 2 of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. But this broad area doesn't really tell much of a story. So let's talk about what's going on. On Tuesday, you're going to get through the day mostly dry. It's warm if you're taking the day off. Spending it outside, I think you're going to be just fine. But watch as this front moves in. Where are the storms? We're dropping in the 50s and 60s where the storms develop. That's what I'm a little concerned about. The humidity and the bulk of it goes through Memphis and actually goes into central Indiana, a little further away from us. I think we get the influence of this really dry air first. So that's one of the things that we're lacking, I think, overall. It's going to be windy regardless, but it's the timing of the front and those other ingredients. Those storms may be south and east, and I would expect the Storm Prediction Center start to shave that a little away from us. We'll still watch it carefully. Anthony's going to have an update for you at 4 a.m. Otherwise, temps in the upper 70s, 2 record-setting days in a row. It's a lot colder on Wednesday. Then we rebound, and we're holding pretty steady the next few days.
I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy on Today in St. Louis, and we're on the move. I want to tell you about a closure that's sure to impact drivers heading downtown to Blues games and other events. And it's going to be happening for the next 3 weeks. Here's what you'll be dealing with. Downtown, MoDOT will close the 14th Street ramp from eastbound I-6440 by Enterprise Center tomorrow morning after the morning rush hour. Workers will be replacing the signal at the base of the 14th Street ramp. Of course, the confusion happens when drivers suddenly come up to their expected exit and it's closed. Don't worry, don't swerve. You can use the 11th Street ramp, but it is on the left. Again, weather permitting, MoDOT expects this closure to last 3 weeks. So, 14th Street ramp, no good. You'll want to take the 11th, the left side ramp off 6440. I'll let you know if there are any changes. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Tonight, Congress facing another possible government shutdown, the key issues causing the funding stalemate. Time is ticking tonight for Congress as Democrats and Republicans squabble to try and prevent a government shutdown. One of the major sticking points is a $118 billion aid package for Ukraine. While members of both parties are pushing to approve it, some don't want to pass a spending plan until they see changes with immigration policy.
You either secure the border or you get no money for the government.
Not only the future
of Ukraine is on the line, which is extremely important. But the larger battle against authoritarianism is on the line.
We Democrats are working as hard as we can and exploring every method to avoid a shutdown. We hope our Republican colleagues...
The deadline to pass a deal is Friday. This is the fourth time since September Congress has been up against a government shutdown deadline. AT&T is reimbursing some customers after last week's network outage. More than 74,000 customers say they lost service on Thursday. AT&T says it will give a $5 credit to those customers potentially impacted. That's about the average daily cost of service. The credit will not apply to business and prepaid plans or Cricket wireless accounts. By the way, the FCC is investigating the outage. The St. Louis Zoo welcomes a new member of the family. How quickly little Cornelia will grow. One of the zoo's newest arrivals took its first steps out in the open at the St. Louis Zoo today. Cornelia, a Sichuan takin, was joined by mom as they roamed their public habitat. They're a species of antelope goats native to China's bamboo forests. Cornelia was born January 28th, weighing nearly 20 pounds. Zookeepers say she'll grow to about 500 pounds over the next 2 years and grow horns. Sichuan takins live in the zoo's Red Rocks area. All right, let's get one last look at that weather with Gary so you know what you're in store for this work week.
Yeah, good time to get out and about the next couple of days. It's one of those rare times where this time of the year, normally when the sun goes down, it gets cool. That's not going to be the case. It's going to be nice and warm as we should set records Monday and Tuesday. Both records are in the upper 70s, so we'll break those. And then Wednesday, it all comes crashing down. It's when does that front arrive and does it have enough moisture to interact with? Right now, I'm highlighting the southeast portion of our viewing area with maybe the best opportunity for severe weather. Otherwise, right now, it does not look great. Some areas may miss out rain. Anthony has the update in the morning.
There you have it, 5 on your side at 10. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. And now here's Corey Miller with Sports Plus.